Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Jan, and in this video I want to talk about support resistance lines, the way I use them, and the trends and different movements on the market. I want to talk about this because I use in my trading usually support resistance lines, and my strategy is based on that. Also I use Fibonacci lines, but I treat them like levels too, like support resistance levels, because that quite often market would go to one of those levels and it's either will break it or turn around. So in next videos I will tell you more specific about my other strategies of trading, and in this video is more like basics, the way I use those resistance support lines, and I believe they are quite important, very important, and I will show you this example on EUR USD. You will see how really interesting how they do really work, those levels. And of course, again, I want to warn you that trading is not just the place where you can make money. You can also lose everything you invested or even more. So before you make any decisions about trading the market, you have to decide for yourself, and always remember about the risks. And so I'm telling you all of this, it's all based on my own experience, and all I know about it I'm sharing it with you. So, and my thoughts, of course. So okay, so let's start with that. Of course, we know about two types of movements on the market. It's down movement and it's up movement. So market moves down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And so we call, when the market moves down, we call downtrend, and when the market moves up, we call it uptrend. And so there is another movement. I call it like movement in the middle. When the market doesn't know where it wants to go, it starts to move strangely, right? So it's kind of started to form. It moves in a specific maybe price range, or it can create different like figurines, let's say, because Forex is all about it's maths, it's algebra, it's geometry. So you would find different triangles, you find head and shoulders, the double bottoms, the double tops. So there's different things which usually happens between the trends, and of course everybody trying to see and find those like triangles or the channels. I call it's like the square figurines, I don't know, like parallelepiped or something, I don't know. Well, I call it channels anyway, channels, triangles. Because when you can find something like this, when the market slows down, of course everybody want to find out if the market will continue the trend and get into it, or will market will change the trend and also get into it before it's doing it, or right at the beginning of it. But it's not always exact prediction. You can think it might change the direction or it might continue the trend. So I trade my strategies based on those movements between trends mostly, and of course on breaking the levels, breaking the support and resistance levels. I also will call support resistance levels just probably important levels, because you know that resistance can become support level, and the other way around. So support can become resistance. So that's why it's just better to call them important lines. So of course I always would look at different time frames, and here you can see this is the monthly chart. I will show you an example on the monthly chart because it actually represents how the levels are working quite well. And also I use exactly the same way on other time frames. It's the daily, 4 hours, 1 hour, 30 minutes, in 15 minutes. The only one I don't use is a weekly chart. And I don't trade big charts like monthly chart or daily chart. I usually just trade 15-minute chart, but of course I use all the support and resistance levels from the other charts. I look at them, and they are like indicators for me where market, I would think maybe market would stop at those levels, or maybe market will break those levels. So that's why it's very important to draw them on any time frames, except it could be a bit too much. so some of them you might remove and pay attention on maybe the smaller charts. But you have to if they, for example, the monthly chart, you'll make levels on the monthly chart. They will be visibly, of course, on your 15-minute chart, and if they're like very close, so you have to pay attention on it because it's quite important. So I don't trade daily or monthly charts or 4-hour chart because you know that the movements around there are quite big. I mean, if you would even look at the small candle, it could be like few hundred pips. Like, for example, look at this one. Looks quite small, but you can see it's like 4,659 points, let's say, and you take away the last number, it's 465 pips. So you need to really have quite big account to be able to trade big time frames. I usually just go for 10 pips, maybe 20, 30, 40 pips, but not for big ones, because you do know that the market is not always goes your direction. When you are in trade, the market can go against you, and you have to have enough money on your account to support that, let's say, movement against you. So if you don't have enough, then you can lose. So that's why I don't like to trade the big time frames, because usually my stops are quite small, about 30 pips, and could be a bit more, but I can't put like stop, let's say 500 pips. It's too much. But if you have big accounts, it's all up to you. Everybody decided for themselves how and what they want to trade. So okay, let's just go back to our chart, and so I will tell you the basics, how I usually draw it, and of course the details about my trading strategies will be in the next videos. So what we're going to look at this one, like look at this chart. Well, of course, if you're the beginner, you will just look at this and think, well, okay, it goes up, it goes down, goes up, goes down. That's it. That's all you can see. But let's say look at this side. We're not going to look at this side because we didn't have history before, and it moved as it moved. But we can look at this side, which is like recently, especially like this part, right? And in this part, we could predict what would happen looking from the history. So we can see the history, and we could actually predict all that movement, the whole movement. We could predict with all the tops, mostly all the tops and mostly all the bottoms. Of course, we wouldn't know exactly the price where it would go, but we could see it roughly, and that's why I'm saying to you, when you have, it's exactly the same going to be on the smaller time frames, but like in the monthly one, I'm saying to you, it's like if we predict roughly where it would stop and reverse, then if you like go for a trade, for example, you would see how many pips here, it's like 300 and 400 pips you would have to bear in mind. If you use a stop, or you think the market might go a little bit against you, it's a lot of pips, it's a lot of money. So how we would look, and how you say, okay, how would you know? For example, I knew on the monthly chart that the market might go back here. Like you see, this is it creates this green candle, and this little one, we don't know what's going to happen. But that market would slow down, and market would try to reverse and would stop here from that big movement. Why? I'm going to show it to you. So it was quite obvious actually. So let's start from the history, of course. Yeah, let's see the history. So we see the market like this move down, it's a little bit reversed, and it's like move down, slow down is what I said to you. We have, yeah, the market was going down, then it slowed down. Here you see it's created like a little, like something in here, yeah, like wherever you can see here, it's could be like that, right? It could be like that. So it's kind of like a little, that's what I call it, like a little triangle which broke, and about the same, you can see actually the same market was moving down. And so after that the market actually broke and then returned and moved down. Here you can see here it wasn't a very strong one, but that one was quite strong. And I will tell you about how I trade triangles later. But you can see there is a triangle which actually showed that market moved the other way. So it was going down, and then it's changed the direction. So if you could see that at that time, sometimes in 2000, 2001, you could make quite good profit, let's say. But of course, as I say, you need quite good money to trade the monthly charts. So we saw the market move down, right, and market started to move up, and from here, let's say, we didn't even know where it moves, but we could already predict that it will stop here. So how would we do it? So now I would look also always on, so you can use this on any pair. You would see it works mostly everywhere, on mostly every pair. It's very good with all these levels. So to draw a trend, we really need just 3 points, let's say. We need either 2 tops and the bottom, or 2 bottoms and 1 top, because Forex likes symmetry. It's like symmetry, it's like symmetrical triangles, it likes parallel symmetrical lines, well, parallel lines, let's say. So let's see, for example, let's start with this history. So there is a buttons here, these trend lines. We're going to use one trend line, and another one is equidistant channel, which is the parallel lines. And so the first we can look at, what we can look at is see. So what did we have here? Like at the beginning, let's say, we will have quite a lot of different levels, but it's alright. So we can see that we had right here at the beginning, we had 1 top and we had like 2 bottoms, and so the market was moving like this, right? So but we're around here somewhere before all of this happened, so we don't know, for example, what would happen here. So we were all checking out all the possibilities, let's say. So we had bottom and bottom here, and we had top here. Okay, so that was going down, it's kind of broke, and it's moving up now. So, well, okay, for now we can forget about this. What I would look next. Okay, so I have actually here top and here top. Let's see what that would do. So I have, if I will move it like this. So I have already kinda, if even look, we will do it for the bodies, right? And if I move a little bit more, you can see the bodies of these 2 tops. That's body and that's body touching it, and body and body. Remember, with my channel, also I always saying that it's very important, the bodies, and as many bodies will touch your channel, the more it's better for the channel. It's stronger. So of course, usually I would also use the wings and like look at like those wings. So of course I would, for example, draw something like this. So because the market reached those levels too, so don't forget about the wings. But right now they're not important. We still have the bodies. First bodies, then wings. And you can see when the market moves up, we would think possibly the market could move to this point, because it was moving up and it's around here when it's broke here. We saw here was important, it was important also here. It's actually tried to break in, it's broke first and moved down, and then it started to break here and it didn't, so it moved down. So it was moving down for a while, then it tried to break it again, and then it's broke again and it didn't, and it come back and finally it's broke. So it's kind of like indicating, telling me that market is actually would have been telling me then actually the market is trying to go back to my channel, right? So, and that's what it did. So here's your first a very good point, that the market moved here. Well, you can see it's only the wings, which is always, it's usually quite could be happening, that the market might be slightly below the resistance and support levels, or it could be above support and resistance levels. So it could be anything, but we knew roughly where it should go, it should stop. So next, also what we could do when we had this, and when the market started to go down back in 90 something, it's actually created one bottom and the other bottom here, and it was changing its direction. Remember here, that's what happens, right? So actually here we could have also draw a level like this, right? Which you can also do parallel. We needed to do parallel, and if I'll get a bit better, so like this. So parallel to this, kind of roughly could be. So we had also important level here, so we would look, the market moved. There is also another level. I know it's too much, but it's important to draw these lines, because at one point of the trading they will help you to know where to stop, and maybe where to go and trade, maybe to close the trade. Because now you can see, look, this one and this two, it's the same. I had two bottoms here and I had one top at the previous, right? It's actually broke here, but we have this as one of the lines. We have another one and another one. So when market went down, we're not interested what happened in here. We're still interested in what would be happening in here, because, like, let's say we already know, okay, market would stop here, right? And it did. Then it moved down. So of course the next one we would have this level, and it's actually broke, and we're thinking, okay, where is it going to go next? And next we will be looking again in the history, see what happened before, and we see, oh, okay, there is a quite important, it was a turning kind of point for this movement, and it's one is here. It actually was quite important right here, and it was important here. It was like something around the movements around here is broke, and it was still moving between these two lines, and here we go, it touched this and it stopped. It couldn't break it. So if it was the top, then now it's the bottom. So it didn't break it, it turned back and turned back again, tried to break it, didn't break it, and went up. And what next? We can see it's broke again, and next prediction would have been, of course, where that would go, and we would see where did it go. It go to this level. So, and the same with the other ones. And here, of course, when we had this top, we kind of didn't know what was going to happen with this one, and so we would have to wait when the market would stop, kinda, or we could have something to do and with this. So okay, what we can do? We could have just maybe draw like this to see what it's going to do, except it's like it's broke here when it went up and went down again, and so it broke that level, and it stopped. It didn't go further, it just stopped right here. So next one we would be drawing is, of course, that one, right? So now we have a little bit more indication of what was happening with this situation, what was happening here. So we had one top, we had one bottom, and so we were waiting where this top will end up. So we had a little bit of prediction it will end up here a little bit, so we were waiting. And the market stopped and it's reversed and started to move again, and so we could have draw this one top and another bottom. So we can draw also, yes, we can draw parallel lines again using just these two tops. We didn't know about this top yet, and we didn't know about anything what is here. So that's another channel, and you can see that stopped and moved, and again this bottom, it moved here and stopped. The bottom is stopped here, it touched our other line, important one, and it started to move back again to this support line, resistance line. So, and it couldn't break it, as you can see, quite important. It didn't break it again, and it started to go back. And well, so we can see a little bit that it's going a little bit away from our bottom line, so we could have drawn another important level, is that one, just based on this. We have this bottom and this new bottom. So now when the market was going back from that, so we would think that, of course, first it needs to go through this level, then it has this level, and it will probably go to this level, and then we will be thinking, well, okay, next, if it will break that level, it will go to here. But there is also here is we can see another height, so I would correct this a little bit and move it a little bit like this, because we have a new height, so it's slightly higher. like this. So it's still lower than the previous low, so we're still in downtrend, but it's a little bit higher, so it didn't reach, let's say. So we can see that from this level it go down to this level. We still have kind of like all of these lines which we like this level. You can see even the next reverse, the next correction stopped here too. As you can see, it was this level and it crossed here and it stopped right here, and then it went down and it's continue breaking all this and it stopped around here. You can see again that level was important. Okay, so now you can see how that level was important, and the market was like slowing down around these two levels. Then it broke that level and continued, so it's just continued down, and it went to there. So in here we can see it was already like it tried to break, it stopped once, tried to like do something here, then it stopped here and it stopped here. So it's like kind of 3 times it tried to do. And you also can see there is also it created a triangle, if you can see it. So because of that, we're gonna take away like this line, we don't need anymore, because remember when it was right here, I was telling you about it, it was an important level when we were trading 2013, and so we don't need this one anymore too. So now you can see this is a triangle, and I'll probably take that away. Yeah, you can see it's formed a triangle, and the market of course is broke. Well, we didn't know back then that market could have turned again, and actually it probably would break here somewhere. What it did, it turned around here and it broke here. You can see. So why did it break here? Because you can see we had one bottom and another bottom. So we had 2 bottoms, and we had line parallel to the tops. So the market moves in parallel to between 2 parallel lines. As I saying to you, market likes symmetry. But this is not the only one thing showing about this level. I just removed it, but you saw also here, right? We had one bottom, we had another bottom, we had roughly something slowed down here and right here. So if I like just put it a little bit higher, so it would touch also these ones, because as I said to you again, the more it touches, the stronger the level. And it's indicated right here. And it's not the only one indication. Also, if you would see here, we had that little one, and if we would draw it, it's roughly also would show us around this area, right? If I will just draw it like this, there, look, it shows us around this area. So the whole indication was that we have around this field, and that's why you see market is moving around exactly in that area. I don't know if it will continue up or maybe it will go down. We don't know, because that was the main indication it showed. That's how I usually draw it. But so what would be my next drawings, let's say? So what this kind of shows is that you can see this bottom is lower and this bottom is high. So I can think possibly that it's actually kind of an uptrend for, let's say, let's take that way. I probably wasn't want to do this, but that. So just like less levels, but we'll draw a bit more important levels. So what I'm trying to do is to, again, to just touch as much as I can. So we have like 1, 2, 3, we have 4 points here, and so what we have in here, so what can I show it to us? We have possibly, it could be that it's moving around, it will be moving in here, so it might go there, but it's a long way, so let's just forget about this. It could be this, it also could be what else you can think of. It could be possibly that it's trying to go back to this, far away, don't need it right now. It could be possibly these heights also, that height, this height, just a little bit closer to this. It could be possibly, maybe, let's just leave it here for now. So we can see it actually goes up like this. So now it might go back, it might reverse, but let's see here again. We still have that important level, so probably if it will go up to this level. But let's see what else was here. Remember, we still had something important here. What did we have? It's this level, this top, and also we have okay, these bottoms. So it's right at the bottom already, and we have another level. I would say this, because we have top here, you can see, and we have one bottom here, and we have one bottom here. This one touched that line, it's actually crossed it, and now it's, you can see it's kind of forming around here. This bottom is turning around these levels. So that would have been my levels for now, for example, to look at when I will be like doing my daily tradings. So I have, what's the distance? Let's say here we have like 538 pips, and down there is around, well, about 500. So it's somewhere in the middle of this levels. So it's in the middle of 500 up, 500 down. It's quite a long way, but this would it be. So possibly it will go up, continue the correction maybe, but there is another thing I'm going to show you that I would look at, is that you can see what it does right now. It's a nice green candle, but this one is balancing around this top. You see, it was kind of looking like, doesn't it remind you of something? Doesn't it look like similar situation what was back in 90s? You can see, I mean, it's kind of a bit, that top is a bit lower than that one, but look at this a little bit. It looks kind of same to me. Look, it's going down, it stops here, it's going down, stops in the same level. Now it's going up to that level. It did exactly the same, except here we had 3 candles, now we have one and one candle. Well, if only we will be looking just at the levels, that's what it shows. Also, there are some other things you can look at, of course, the different shapes of the candles, but that will be a different story. We'll have to talk about it in the other video, because this one is very long. But if you would look at this, what happened here, it didn't break it in the first time, and possibly, I don't know, that tells me maybe it will not break it again, maybe it will go down a little bit, and then it might do the same here, it might go down a little bit, but we still have very important here lines, support line or resistance line, whatever, support line. So it possibly might go back to this blue line, it might go back to the gray again, but at one point it will break one or another. I don't know what's going to happen, but we can see a little bit. It looks like quite like that one, so maybe possibly it will do the same, maybe it's not. That's what the support and resistance line is all about. It works quite well, it helps in trading, and so in my next videos I will tell you about my daily trading secrets, let's say it that way, so the way I traded. And so hopefully it will be helpful, and hopefully this is also was helpful. And if you like the video, and don't forget to subscribe, and bye everyone.